Well, footy's back. The Blues are back. That was one of the just classic Carlton performances, in a way. As pissed off as I am and as upset as I am, obviously very grateful to have them back and all of that. But last night was painful, really, really painful to watch. Really painful on so many levels. A lot has been spoken about, before round one and then after round one, after we had this pandemic break, I looked very carefully to see what, the messaging was going to be coming out of the club. And it's very similar. It's been very similar for a while. It's always sort of been around, we're going to be ready. We're going to address the starts, and I'm going to put some links below in this video because over time, every article and every message that came out from the club, whether it was Mitch McGovern talking about, how he's really excited, this break's been good for him because he's not behind the eight ball, he's going to get a lot of Ks in his legs, and Murphy the other day, full of belief, he wants to have the Shane Crawford dream and sort of be a veteran and sort of slip in while the younger boys lift him to a premiership. And Luke Power literally on the 4th of June saying that consistency and competition are the major focus, and how we're going to stop these lapses in concentration. The biggest one for me was Teague on the 1st of April. Literally it says, "We will be ready." And I don't mind. I get it. You've got to give some sort of insight into your mindset, into the positivity. But for me, if you're going to talk, right, let the message be, we've got a lot to prove, not we will be ready. Because far too often, we are left with this hope and this dream and these fugazis. Everyone's talking about being ready, and the boys have come back in ripping condition. Go on the Carlton Twitter and look at Dale Amos, literally probably, 25 minutes before the bounce or an hour before, whatever it was, before the bounce, he was talking about, the boys had a really good conditioning block in the break and they came back and their training standards have lifted. Shut the fuck up, right? Let's just cut the bullshit. When is it going to end? When is it going to end? When is it going to end? When is the penny going to drop? That hurt me watching that last night. I was hurting. Like, it was painful. It was that first quarter. Goodness me, why are we saying this again? What is going on? Don't give me the boys love being around each other. Don't give me the training standards have lifted. Even in the press conference last night, I did on purpose. I waited because I was so worked up last night. I knew, you just get a good night's sleep, think about it, watch a little bit again, and sort of, and it's the same thing. I'm still so pissed off, I really am, and there was a lack of intensity from the start. It was, I was noticing when we tackled Melbourne, it was kind of like pull their jumper and just sort of bring them to ground. When Melbourne tackled us, bang, right to the ground, mate. They wanted to hurt us, and call it for what it is. It was fucking soft. It was soft. And sometimes the home truths have to be said. Now, I don't have any opinion on coaching because I don't know. I don't understand the game on that level, right? I understand the game on just, on the eye and what I'm seeing and the body language. I have a pretty good grasp on that, I feel. Anyway, but just the inability to come into a game prepared. It's like we wait to be punched before we punch back, and that's when we decide how well we're going to play. We're a very reactive team. We're not proactive in the way we go about it. We don't lead in the game. We wait to be led, and it's more than a habit now. It's become a serious trend. Teague addressed it in his press conference. He said it. It was unacceptable. He made a few comments, pissed me off. We tried, and I get it. Of course you try. That's your job. That's your job. That's what you have to do. So there is no such thing as not trying. So don't give me that. But it's so frustrating to constantly read about and listen to the messaging coming out. And, it's all about, it is positive, and, we do have to be positive. And of course we'll take some positives from last night. But until we, the fans, until we change our standards and our ability to accept the mediocrity, because that's what's happening. We accept it. I'm culprit number one. It's me. See an article, the Carlton Kool-Aid comes out, and I drink it. I go buy slabs of it. I get worked up, and I have. It comes from hope. Everyone's got hope, and then you've got that faith that it's going to turn around, because it makes sense. We're in a rebuild. So 5 years into this rebuild, we're in that 5th year. It makes sense. We're going to turn it around at some point. But some of these guys, they don't look like they belong at the standard. Honestly, they just don't. They really don't. And I'm going to get into them in the player ratings video, but just as an overall experience of what that was last night and what we aspire to do, like, we're so far away from what Collingwood can do. We're so far away from what and that was a terrible game on Thursday. It was a defensive game, but we are just so far away from being a contender right now. And I don't want to hear anything else about this corporate business network and the financials, and we cut our debt in half. Let me give you a really, really cool strategy to make money in sport. It's actually the most undefeated strategy that there is. Win fucking games, mate. Win games. Let's win games. Let's focus on the investment in winning games of football and those players that go out there every week. I don't care about the business network. I don't care about raising $5 million for Virgin Australia. Kane, I don't care about that, mate. I care about winning games of football, period. Money will come quick, fast when we win games of football regularly. So it's, is there something to take out of, being able to make a game of it? Maybe. But for me personally, the way I'm looking at it, it's changing for me. I've been very patient regarding this rebuild and the timeline and letting the boys come into their own. But you know what? Sometimes sometimes the standards have got to lift. And that's across the board. I'm not going to accept any of these headlines anymore. They failed. They failed last night. Yeah, I liked what Pitternet did, but he lost the battle to Gawn. I actually had someone last night tell me that Pitternet beat Gawn last night. That was a conversation I was having, and it was a genuine exchange. And things like that, we can't accept this mediocrity. You cannot find positives out of this. We're not in year 2 or year 3 of the rebuild. Where these young boys, they had a crack. That's finished. That's got to end. That has to finish. They're now entering the stage of their careers where the pressure to win games has to come. I don't want to hear about Dave Cunningham's potential and his moments. Show me over 4 quarters. And this isn't an individual game. It's not a single one out. I am going to do the player ratings, and that's going to be a little bit more individually focused. But this isn't 1 or 2 people who are at fault. This is a stain across the board, internally, externally, all of us. We've all got to make a change in I guess from the fans' point of view. It's just more so our standards and what we're going to accept, because nothing changes unless the pressure is put on them to change. I mean, you can argue the fans really. Look at the power of what we did last year in getting David Teague into the head coach position. Not going to say we were the core factor, but we were a big factor. When we started raising our toes and really getting vocal about it and making our voice heard, things happened. And I feel like it's going to have to happen again. If this bullshit keeps going on, this mental weakness keeps happening, then when is the tipping point for you? And it's something I'm really keen to explore. I had some really good conversations last night, all over on the social media channels. There were good discussions, and there were hard discussions, and I noticed that line changing a little bit. There weren't too many fairy lights last night. It was, sometimes you just got to have the harsh reality given to you. And that applies to me and to everyone in their life. But, unfortunately for these players, my life and my performance in my life isn't affecting the emotions of, hundreds of thousands of people. And that's the beauty and the curse of being a footballer, I guess, at this level. How you perform as a team really impacts how a lot of people feel. And it's just the way it is. We invest so much time and emotion into our sport, into our club, because that's our family. And so not good enough is the message from me. Enough with the headlines, enough with the talk. Like, literally stop telling me that talk is finished. Like, stop saying that. If you want to talk, say something on, let the company line be, we've got a lot to prove. Don't give me the fucking, we're ready. Because we're not. We're not ready. And if we are, fucking show me. Because Melbourne are not great. This, like, the ability to accept that performance is a real Melbourne type mentality. And if we lose the fabric of Carlton Football Club, where success is demanded, if we lose that fabric, we become one of these B-grade, mediocre clubs, and it cannot happen under any circumstance for me. So that's how I see it. It's good to get it off the chest. Still so annoyed and so hurt by how they performed, but footy's footy. We'll go down to Geelong next week. We'll see what happens. It's not a good place to be. 0-2, staring down the barrel of 0-3. If they can't get up for this Melbourne game, I don't know what they're going to get up mentally for this Geelong game. So let's see how we go. The player ratings video will come out next, and we'll get cracking right into them. So thanks for tuning in, and go the Mighty Blues.